Alright, welcome back to the Red Bull Wololo Legacy Tournament. We've got the Road to Wololo qualifiers on. We're into the not so appropriately named August #1 qualifier, which occurred in the last week of July. We've got Erik here in the round of 32 in the red trunks on HRE. He's up against Knuschelbar in the blue trunks on the Rus. And these fellas are locked up at 1-1 in this best of 3 series, so everything is on the line in this game. Who progresses further on into the tournament and hopefully books themselves a spot at the August final to then win and play in the main event, Castle Heidelberg, or well, neither of them get there. We'll see how we go. There's some also other strong names in this bracket, like Marine Lord. And actually, to be honest, all can flash as well. They're probably the most well-known players in the bracket, alongside these two. So we have Knuschelbars. Oh, I'll put my overlay on. Bit out of whack today. It's a work day. A bit fucked after work, I'll admit. Apologies, the casting's not so top-notch in this one. Knuschelbar. You're going for multiple early scouts for sure. Being Rus, want to really accrue that bonus gold bounty, particularly because it also feeds back into his food gather rate, gives him a bonus there. Helps him really compete with the HRE's prelate, who can empower resources to give them a handy 40% gather speed increase and 40% carry capacity. Very handy for drop off early on for them. So this will be a nice find here for Knuschelbar, because he'll get 75 gold in total out of the 3 wolves, and this one should de-aggro back into his base. Well, he might not even be able to pick it off just yet. He'll have to circle back around. So he's found another wolf in the meantime, so this is actually really handy for him. Just keep scouting, bro. It's really paid off for him there. He's up to 245, which is monumental to have this early on. He kills one more deer. He goes, yep, past the 250 mark. It's a really nice gold accrual here for our Rus player, actually skyrocketing up to over 300 there. Because in order to take both the wheelbarrow and the golden gate, you sort of need about 200, 220 maybe, to get it at the time that you want it. So anything beyond about 220 is a bonus to the build, because anything over 250 you get increased gather rate to your food, and as a side note you also do get increased gold gen at your hunting cabins, but it's inconsequential. A Rus player to contend with the fact that our HRE player is going to go for an arch and chapel here, so Erik will be able to use this as a drop-off point and also empower everything around it. So he's actually shifted his food eco over here. Moving his sheep away from his town center onto that, and he can also empower all his gold and stone gatherers. Slowly working towards the wood for a second town center as well. It's pretty interesting to see him not empowering his wood line though, so he'll probably want to add a prelate eventually to do so, because he'll need to get a lot of wood to add all the structures he wants to add. Conversely, this golden gate, really handy flexibility for the Rus eco, because he can convert any resource other than gold into gold, or convert gold into any resource at a pretty favourable ratio there. He can only do it once a minute though, and he can bank that up as many times as he wants, so it's a handy eco steroid like the Terran Mule. as such, because it can be invested into just about anything for you. There are only a handful of cases when it's not all that useful, because realistically, if you're out of any resource other than gold, you can spend gold on it. If you're out of gold to spend on a resource, you spend another resource on gold if you've got 2 ticks or more. So Knuschelbar getting a pretty uncontested boar there, so that's a little bit rough for Erik that he didn't keep tabs on that. So no extra villager or scout damage going on there, trying to take the boar down. It's a nice spot for the hunting cabin because it will actually generate a reasonable amount of gold. Once they're getting up to about 1/4 to 1/3 of a relic's gold generation a minute, it's actually not so insignificant, because if they get 3 or 4 of them, they're actually getting, you know, like a free relic out of it. So having all the boars and having all the hunts, at least with some trees around it, this is probably not so good because it's all staggered trees, pretty worthless. This one here, for instance, if it was on the other side of the map, or this one over here, you know, you're getting a good 75 to 100 gold gen out of the 3 cabins, or 4 cabins. But that aside, it is something that I'd love to talk about. That aside, Erik already starting to transition to farms around the chapel here. I thought he was going for the stone, actually, because he's put it here for it. Instead, it's just a safe spot for his mill eco, and he can also make sure he's empowering everything on the gold. So he has actually got another prelate over here to empower the front side of his base. Like I said, that wood line going to be very handy to empower the Rus. They can also empower their wood line through use of through use of fortresses, which give 20% more drop-off bonus. Erik and Knuschelbar seem to be both playing pretty slow game so far. Because Knuschelbar, he has opened with the stables to start night production and start harassing, but at the same time he's added a blacksmith, hasn't spent any ticks of his golden gate just yet. So he's just weighing up his options there, I suppose. Just figuring out whether he wants to go for a quick second town centre or a quick age 3. Looks like Erik looking to go for a quick age 3, considering his food and gold bank at the moment. He needs a little bit more food, another 200. He's got an excess of 400 gold, so he can start adding extra prelates. In fact, can you not train them out of the chapel anymore? I don't. They take that off them already. Maybe that was too strong when they could train them out of the chapel and use it as a drop-off point. They get every bonus all at once to them. To the knight, being a bit of a pest, forcing a garrison here. But Knuschelbar, unlike a French player, can't heal these guys up without having to use monks, so he's going to have to, use them a little bit sparingly. Force garrisons, but try not to tank too much damage. And Knuschelbar going to look at, bringing up a fortress here because he starts to deny a bit of build space. It's going to be difficult to start bringing up villages when your opponent can just garrison any of his melee and turn them into more ranged to actually pick off villagers trying to build. He's actually going to prevent the stables going up just in time, but Erik's going to finish it back off with some more villagers. Another charge here, multiple knights this time. These guys will be able to get a kill. More than just a bit of gather time. From Regnitz Cathedral. This is a pretty greedy opening. Trying to defend with the stables alone for now. But, he's now got night production. And that age up advantage over Nush means he's got the ability to start really pushing now. Nush has actually had quite a bit of production as well, but Knuschelbar's knights going to be weaker until they get to Castle Age and can get that upgrade for the Castle Age stats. That's the only downside to the early access. And Knuschelbar adding a ram as well. You know, Erik, he's adding more knights. He's up to the 3 pellets at the moment. He wants to be able to empower all of his food eco and all of his wood eco. Because when they're not in the chapel, there is an upper limit to how many they can empower. Like realistically, the chapel can fit as many villages as you can fit in this space and use gathering. Is the number of units limited by the prelate is limited with the empowerment for, but with their ability, it's only about 10 empowerments at a time before the cooldown. I mean, before the first one actually runs out of time. And Erik having to defend with only a handful of knights against pretty scary Age 2 composition here. So Knusch is still stuck in feudal, hasn't really got the resources to go to castle because of his investment, but at the same time he can poke and prod at Erik's base. But HRE, they do have that emergency repair. One building every minute can basically get a free repair. That's basically like having 10 villages on it. So it makes it very hard to tear down a single structure and get out without really investing in the harass and forcing that out on that structure or another building first. And realistically, you can force it out on a squishier structure and then focus down what you want to focus down. But it's hard to do sometimes. HRE players aren't exactly going to give you a house or a production facility that's in range of the influence of the emergency repair, but simultaneously, you know, easy to pick off. Defensive outposts now being picked off here. So Knusch really looking to surround Erik, cut him off from all these relics, and punish the fact that he's gone for a cathedral, because its main benefit is it is a relic boon, so it doubles the effectiveness of the up to 3 relics garrisoned inside of it. It used to quadruple the effectiveness of 2 relics. Imagine how sick that would be. But alas, for Erik, it's not to be. Erik does manage to snatch up 1 relic. It looks like Knusch is going to throw away a ram trying to take out the mining camp. Erik doesn't really seem to be on any gold at the moment though. He's relying purely on relic gold, adding some ranges now. He's got that double stables. Man, Erik doesn't even have a market, and he's playing as if like HRE and restricted on gold now, so kudos to him. But Knusch is going to make another battering ram. Spears for Erik, having it back. I mean, forcing Erik back there. Knuschelbar, a nice cheap investment. He's really punishing his opponent for going for these heavy units, because now Erik can't afford eco-techs, man-at-arms, and you know, armory upgrades. Meantime, Knuschelbar, having added a second town centre, and he's gone for that blacksmith to get his ranged armor. Hasn't added any other H2 upgrades yet, but I think he might be considering going for Castle Age here. If this next wave of the rams doesn't work. Doesn't have anything in queue. Any more. Well, another arrow-slotted tower, but this time back at home to defend that second town centre. Knuschelbar 47 and 39. Erik 42 and 15. So slowly, unless Erik can add a second town centre, he can start gathering some gold again. Knuschelbar slowly going to bleed him out from this position. Fighting under these towers here, though they haven't been upgraded for Erik. So they are a bit of a dummy at the moment. Knuschelbar probably does want to fight under that upgraded tower of his own, of his opponent's, because Springles will actually start to really rip through his knights. And Erik's going to go for it. He's going to take a second town center by the looks of things. I don't believe he's actually scouted out Knuschelbar's town center, but I think he realizes that because Knuschelbar hasn't got a castle age by now, it's only because he's looking to do a big boom from feudal. And then once he gets a build lead, then look at dumping resources in castle. It's Knusch walling off relics, just slowing down any real benefit to the Regnitz Cathedral. They're gathering a lot of stone, but if he wants to go for a second town center, he needs a lot more wood as well. Is he possibly looking at going for a keep here? Might be what he needs to keep himself in this game. Insufficient wood. I won't say that. Yeah, he's going for a defensive keep, so this will keep both of his landmarks, all three of his landmarks, really safe. At the same time, Knusch is slowly chipping away at his base right now. And with the 41 vills to 56 for Knusch, and Knusch has gone and taken one of the boar. He took that boar as well. He's gone all the way up to 465 on the bounty gold, and this even benefits his farming and his berry picking. So if he can take out one of the boar behind this, he gets an insane feudal eco to then go to castle with. So now Knusch will be looking to save up for castle, I imagine. Actually, adding another bunch of knights. So I'm going to take out more structures while Knusch. Contend with the fact that Erik gathering a bit more stone. Now's that keep, now is that upgraded outpost. I'm going to gather wood from up here, but this might actually mean he doesn't have to cut through the, he doesn't have to take out the wall because he can just cut through. Erik really not looking to take a fight he doesn't have to at the moment, because Knusch is a much scarier army. If he can, he'll just do a little bit of damage to the knights and back out. Sniping a ram there as well, at the cost of a couple of archers. Ooh, quite a few archers actually, so Knuschelbar actually coming out of that not too badly off, but he does drop a few of his own units. Now a few more spears going to get caught as well. So Erik, solid defense here. Knusch's map control. Non-stop though, he has actually added some his melee armor and his ranged armor at the moment. I was going to say, I was thinking he was probably going to try and take a quicker castle, but no, it looks like it might only just be going up now. Abbey of the Trinity. Knusch just going to try and work fast, grab all of these relics. Because Erik, for the moment, only just moving out. He might be able to grab this top side one or two. The knights will be able to tear down the walls pretty quickly. Knuschelbar's tower, forcing a tower out from Erik. It's actually garrison there, or upgrade it. So Erik picking off Knuschelbar's careless proxy tower there. And Knuschelbar age 3 in the meantime, and he does have that age up, that town center advantage, so 66 and 50 to 47 and 23. And having a relic in the Regnitz Cathedral is strong, but it's no longer going to compete with something like 18 to 20 villager difference. Erik making a lot of gold now. He wants to get a lot of wooden food for what's coming, but he also probably wants to possibly even add a third town centre to catch up and outdo his opponent in terms of eco. Once he can break this initial hold that Knuschelbar has on him, the market's been added as well. They can trade through all these resources. Correct big banks. But it does come at a cost. It's not like the Golden Gate. The keep's really going to protect his villagers on the farms. Well, it looks like Erik might be able to grab that relic. I don't think he realizes he's got a prelate here. It's actually slowing these knights down. Now got access to that relic, so he really should take it now. Nush has got great map control here. Knuschelbar looking to grab some relics of his own. Bringing one of them home. Or in this other one. He can always break that. Do a smash and grab with his warrior monks. Erik finally picking up that other relic from his side of the map. So 51 and 30 is Erik, and Knuschelbar 76 and 64. A big lead for Knuschelbar, but he's not wanting to push it, not wanting to throw things away. Erik's just looked very brittle after all this initial harass for most of the game. But still, he seems to be able to surge onwards. The Knight's disengaging, and Knuschelbar not wanting to overextend. He's playing this so cautiously and just relying on his control of the game. I mean, why throw it away? Went ahead, get further ahead. So he's going to snatch up another relic. He's going to grab a sacred... Oh no, he's going to grab the third relic. So Knuschelbar is going to go 3-2 in the relic count. What happened to that one that Erik grabbed up at the top? Does he always have one in here? I don't know what happened. He's bringing another one back. Did he put it in a tower? Oh, here we go. He's put it in the keep instead. Well, it looks like he's getting the double generation out of the keep as well. But I was going to say, Knuschelbar, even with the relic advantage, is actually technically down by a relic because of the Regnant's benefit. But he's going to be able to use his map control to grab 2 out of 3 sacred sites as well. And ultimately, he should be even with gold gen. And then he's got access to a lot more gold on the map. So he's getting a huge number of upgrades here. Now that he's finally castle, as well as a lot of upgrades to towers around the map. While Erik also getting just some tower upgrades at the moment. He's housed for the moment. Walled himself in quite well here. Getting some siege as well. This has just been a very slow and controlled game here from Knuschelbar. And Erik has taken a lot of early damage, but he's just persisting and turtling up. He's going to engage Knuschelbar's army or into the keep until he starts getting some of his own trebs. He's struggling to afford them at the moment. So Knuschelbar's walled in Erik, and he's walled himself in. It's not not as though either players necessarily just walled themselves in. They both walled Erik in. And it's been... the map's a pretty good depiction of the game, really. Erik's just been playing super passively. And just massing up Langenet. I don't think he's really even had much in the way of any raiding opportunities. It'd be hard to try and sneak past Knuschelbar's army. You'd have to try and cut through here to get to the gold mine. Go to his berries. Yep, slowly taking out more structures. Knuschelbar adding his balanced projectiles, getting another ranged damage upgrade. He's got melee armor, which is smart against HRE considering they play very melee centered. They don't really use a lot in the way of ranged or siege. They sort of just add either end sparingly if they need to counter you. So it's smart for Knusch to get the melee upgrade. Erik, he's now getting his marching drills, a HRE exclusive that gives him faster infantry. Some try and catch up to the cavalry a little bit better. Iron undermesh as well, reducing that range damage. But hang on, that's an age 2 upgrade. So Erik's actually pretty far behind in terms of the armory upgrades at the moment. So he's trying to rely on the fact that he can get through them and add them a little bit quicker than the later age upgrades get added. I mean, a little bit cheaper than the later age upgrades get added. And sort of looking relying on adding the first round of those and maybe even the castle age ones if he can. He really needs to try and mass up a little bit faster than this because he's on 67 and 64. Knuschelbar's on 96 and 104. This has been one of the slowest, you know, pick aparts I've seen, really. He's actually going to cut his way through his own wall off there. He doesn't want to do it over here. That's right in the face of the army. So Knuschelbar creeping forward with another keep. Just playing this one super passively, doesn't want to throw anything away. But Erik has an army not much more than half the size of his. These Langenet, great area damage, great against infantry as well in general. Going to force Knusch to really rely on knights and having to disengage away from them. But a lot of his range and now his siege is exposed, so it's hard to just outright kill a HRE army like this, even with the upgrade advantage. But the archers not quite so solid against Langenet, I don't think. Are they light? Oh no, they are only light, sorry. I take it back, it's the crossbows that aren't so good against them. Knuschelbar losing a lot of his army there. At the same time, Erik is still down by 40 pop. It's Eco 72 to the 97 of Knuschelbar. Adding more production behind this as well. We'll be able to add 9 horsemen at once. Bearing in mind, Knuschelbar, now he's adding some crossbowmen, is still adding mostly knights and more siege and creeping forward with more and more towers. Knuschelbar really probably needs to just hit this gold mine and he can really cut Erik off. Force him to have to gather outside the safety of the walls. But it looks like this tower is going to be great for Knuschelbar because it's going to deny Erik the chance to safely gather this gold with either of these towers here. Can't safely wall off there fully. Now Knuschelbar grabbing the center sacred site. A little bit more gold trickle for him. Erik probably needs to send one of his prelates to get the southern one. Maybe he should have had this gold mine walled up here. He's now going to start bleeding a couple of hills. He has his infantry ball here to defend. Knuschelbar's now having taken out the cathedral and the town center now, so that gold gen for Erik is really cut off. So he probably wants to get this sacred site and tower up this gold vein while it still lasts. At the same time, he also needs to try and get possession of this one before too long. Again, he's just playing super passively because he knows if he takes an engagement against this army, it's probably going to be doomed. I don't know why he's not at least trying to hit Knuschelbar, who hasn't walled off completely, so he can hit the stone gatherers or the gold gatherers, or even possibly get over here somehow. Anything. Come on, man. Keep falling. Erik adding a lot of rams, but Knuschelbar able to go to Imperial Age. And I don't think he's too worried about doing so. I think he's more interested in just seeing what his opponent does from here. He's even left a bit of population space at the moment, because he's pretty confident that Erik's not maxed, and Erik isn't maxed, but he's not too far behind in terms of population. In fact, his army size is about the same size, in fact slightly bigger. But here we go. Knuschelbar now adding his 4th landmark, Spaxkia Tower. So a 3rd keep here in the mid-map. Bringing a lot of villagers for this. I suppose he can steal his opponent's food now. What's left of the deer. Oh no, there's the whole thing. So he can grab that hunt and that berries. So Erik, come on man, what are you doing? Knuschelbar, feel free to get every single upgrade in the game. He's been using the Golden Gate really well. He's only banking up 2 supplies, so it's really nice for him. Looks like Erik is able to get a monastery so he can... Oh no, he doesn't have the monastery. He's just grabbing the relic, so Knuschelbar can't steal it. So it's still pretty smart, because I mean, even if you can't generate the gold, at least you're denying your opponent. And Erik not really able to afford much more in the way of upgrades. It is melee damage, his ranged armor, castle ages, but there's no melee castle and no ranged castle upgrades. Doesn't need the ranged castle upgrade really though, because he's only got the 7 bowmen at the moment. Probably smart to not invest a lot in them in case there are more mangonels here from Knuschelbar. So this is a really impressive push from Erik. He's got more in the way of military, but there is so much siege here. I mean, so much static defense here for Erik that he can't finish off the army until the rams start taking out 1 or 2 of these keeps. And well, he does have this impressive army size. It's now starting to really be thinned out in terms of the health, and Knuschelbar can really afford to replenish behind this. So Knusch can afford 2 or 3, I wouldn't say remaxes, but 2 or 3 more waves of this, while Erik, once his units full here, he's going to be super gold starved. He's not actually on this gold mine out here. He hasn't yet even added that monastery, so his gold income is fucking zilch at the moment. And GG, Knuschelbar takes the game. That was a fairly slow one to cast, to be honest.